IGN Livewire is back, and this time around we're bringing you Lord of the Rings Conquest, a game from the guys who did Star Wars Battlefront. Eric from Pandemic is here to show us how everything works. Will's with me as well. Go ahead and kick it off.
So Eric, let's start out with where you guys got your inspiration for Lord of the Rings Conquest. Was it more from the movies or from the books?
We started with the movies, but we've definitely been inspired and dig deeper into the books and into the extended universe. From Battlefront, we really kind of wanted to take this gameplay in a new area, and fantasy and Lord of the Rings was really one of the most ideal places to take it.
Is it similar to Battlefront in that there's kind of these large-scale battles and you're just one guy kind of running around through?
Yeah. You're kind of in the middle, dropped in the middle of these huge battles, and it's all the epic moments from the films, but you kind of get to choose how you want to play about them.
Are the epic moments all from the films, or we're going to see some stuff maybe that wasn't in the films but that was in the books?
Definitely. We've got a bunch of locations that were in the films, or just glimpsed at in the films, or weren't in the films at all. Like Minas Morgul, which is like this evil fortress that they just kind of glanced over in the films. We've got a whole battle that takes place in there. Plus, you've got Rivendell and the Shire as new places to run around and kill hobbits.
Now, are you going to be playing as the heroes? The heroes that we all know. From the movies and the books, or are you going to be playing as some sort of secondary characters?
You get to play as both, actually. You get to play as an officer in both the good forces and the bad forces, but you also get all the heroes. And I don't think there's ever been a Lord of the Rings game that has as many playable heroes as this game. You not only get Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli and Gandalf and the Fellowship, as you'd expect, but you get all the bad heroes, too. So you get Saruman, and you get to be the giants and the trolls, the Ints on the good side, but also the Balrog you get to play as in this game, and Sauron himself.
So we get to play as Ringwraiths?
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, let's
talk a little bit more about actually the evil campaign, because that's something that people have kind of been interested in. How exactly is that going to play out? Is it basically going to be just that the evil side wins the war? Or?
We kind of wanted to do something a little different for the evil side. So what we did is we rewound to right before the end of the films, and we kind of posed the question, what if Frodo failed? So he's right there about to drop in the ring, and he kind of had this moment where he's about to get corrupted, and the Ringwraiths are like trying to converge and stop him at that point in the film, and we kind of said, what if the Ringwraiths got him? So you get to play as a Ringwraith, you get to catch Frodo, kill him, take the ring, and deliver it to Sauron. And then it kind of sets off this huge evil campaign as if the bad guys failed at the end of the movie. And so we don't change what the events that happen in the film, we kind of extend it to an alternate ending.
Are you going to get to go burn down the Shire or anything fun like that?
Yes, you do. You get to burn down the Shire, you get to trample hobbits with Oliphants, you get to ride the massive Oliphants in the game, you get to trample them with wargs and stick them with swords and spears and launch them from catapults.
Now, do you think that Lord of the Rings fans, both with the games as well as, but primarily with the books and potentially the movie, will have a problem with the fact that you have a potentially alternate ending?
We've actually, our initial fan response has been really positive. People have felt like you've kind of gotten the Lord of the Rings experience before on a game, and we're still delivering that, but we're giving you also kind of letting you fulfill your dark fantasies of what you've always wanted to do in the Lord of the Rings universe as the bad side. So the Tolkien estate and New Line have been really supportive in kind of helping us fill out that kind of what-if scenario.
Oh, so they did give the approval then, Tolkien's estate did?
Yeah, they've been really excited about this.
All right, cool.
You guys, we had mentioned that you guys worked on the Battlefront series. Is there going to be a multiplayer aspect to the game? Can we expect to see some sort of big battles online and things like that?
Yeah, we've got a lot of really fun battles and game modes online. We've got up to 16 players, network play, in a ton of different game modes. Conquest, where you're capturing control points, capture the flag, plus a bunch of new ones that are just for Lord of the Rings. We're talking about battles where everyone's trying to team up against the Balrog, battles where one player is Frodo and everyone else is a Ringwraiths, and you're trying to hunt down Frodo, and if you get to kill Frodo, you get to be Frodo, and the more points you get as Frodo, the more chance you have of winning the game. So we've got a bunch of different variations on the basic gameplay that we keep on expanding on.
Is there a co-op aspect at all?
Yeah, the entire campaign is playable in co-op and split screen as well.
Is it jump in, jump out, or anything like that, or?
No, you gotta. It's every mission is you start at the mission, you play through it campaign, but you can play through on split screen co-op and network play co-op.
Now, you ready to fire this up? Do we have?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get this started. I want to see.
So I think what you're going to see here is from the good campaign. This is the Battle of Minas Tirith. So the setup here is you're the forces of good, and you're trying to hold out until the forces of Rohan arrive in Pelennor Fields. So this mission takes place at night, and then we'll kind of go over the course of dawn. And the first thing you need to do is hold off these enemy units as they kind of come in and invade. Sean's currently playing the warrior. He's one of our 4 playable classes. He's not doing a great job. Oh, ow. But as the warrior, you've got a wide variety of different weapons at your disposal. You've got your sword, and you've got a bunch of different melee attacks you can use, light, heavy, and medium attacks, and you can kind of chain them up. You also can build up energy and then use your fire sword attacks as modified attacks to do a lot more damage. But you have to make sure that you're moderating your energy, and the more you gain more energy as you fight more enemy units. He's also got an axe on his back for when he needs to take out a unit with a ranged attack. Although Sean's accuracy tends to vary on the axe. And,
that was very polite of you.
Thanks. We give him a lot more grief at the office. And he's also able to block in mid combo as well. As you can see, he has to deal with different situations with different classes. So now he's going to pick a scout, and like Battlefront, you can pick different classes at any time. So the scout is more of our stealth mechanics. He's got the daggers. He's got a lot more agile attacks.
Invisible.
He can also cloak, and he's not so good when he gets locked up or surrounded, but he can roll out of the way. And he has a unique way of taking out trolls, which is he can sneak up behind the troll and do a grab on him, and ouch, and take him out that way as well. So each class plays a little differently and caters to a different gameplay style. The scout and the warrior are for more of your melee fans, for your beat 'em up kind of fans. Mm-hmm. The archer and the mage are both shooters, and they play more like a traditional third-person shooter. Their tactics are a lot more about staying away from the battle and picking which arrows and which kind of spells you want to use to keep away from the guys with swords.
Now, Eric, are there going to be any sort of RPG aspects to the game, anything like that, or is it more or less a straight-up just action game?
We've been really focusing on the action. We wanted to make sure that it was really accessible and you could hop into it, whether you played it in single player or in multiplayer. So we've been focusing on that at this point. So now that he's successfully defended the front gate, now you need to move on to destroying the siege towers. So he's going to pick a different class here and show off the archer. The archer plays like a traditional third-person shooter, but he's got, in addition to his zoomed-in mode, and he's got 3 special arrows he can use. He's got a triple shot arrow, which is kind of his panic button when enemies get too close. He's got a poison arrow, which will poison enemy units in the area and slow them down. And then he's got a fire arrow, which he can light his arrow on fire and then ignite things on fire. So for example, that siege tower, he can take it down. One way you can take it down is by lighting it with fire arrows. Like everything in the game, what we wanted to do is make sure that everything you do can be done the way you want. So there's like 10 to 20 different ways you can destroy those siege towers. If you're the warrior, you can use your fire sword. If you're the archer, you can use your fire arrow. If he can make his way to the other side of the wall, there's a ballista in place there that he can take over and use that to attack. The mage has a bunch of different spells he can use to cast to destroy objects and enemy units, and sometimes you have to watch out for fell beasts that swoop down and will carry guys off to their doom as well.
Nice.
So we've got a lot of dynamic, dangerous environments going on as well.
Awesome. Well, we're actually running out of time. Feel free to keep playing, but I will ask you 2 reader questions.
Sure.
So the first question is from GeoStar. He wants to know, he or she I should say, how deep is the game's combat?
It's pretty deep, actually. We've got a pretty robust melee combat system in there and integrated it into a shooter. So we've got everything that you'd expect from a shooter and everything that you'd expect from a melee beat 'em up combined into one game.
All right, great. Anything additional to that you want to let out?
Well, besides that, there's also a ton of secondary mechanics that get pretty deep too. You get to play as trolls and run around as that. There's a bunch of siege equipment like catapults and battering rams, and you get to ride horses and mounts, and plus all the heroes. So there's a lot of things to play with.
There's a lot of stuff for you to do. Okay, moving on to the second question. Dr. Darkstrife wants to know, I read the game is going to explore outside the realm of the movies. What kind of new scenes will we get to experience? You kind of touched upon this a little bit, but is there anything else you could say?
Well, I think the most satisfying thing in the Evil campaign is when you get towards the end, you're really kind of driving the forces of good back, and you get to play on Weathertop, in Rivendell, the Elven Fortress, and in the Shire. And as the Shire, you get to be Sauron and the Balrog, and you get to fight all the heroes of the Fellowship and defeat them. And you've never been able to really do that. You get to take down Legolas and Aragorn and Gandalf.
That's gonna be very satisfying
that's impossible.
feeling. I gotta admit, like, I'm gonna
Legolas.
burn down the Shire. First thing, that will be the first thing I do. Awesome, well, thanks so much for that. More Lord of the Rings is always a good thing. Livewire will be returning shortly.